if you'll just...
Don't you fucking touch her!
I have to examine her or she'll die! She's alive. What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, that was.
No more room in hell. The dead walk here.
What's up, Horror Fiends? It's your boy, Ricky Grimes. I am back with my three brothers. We are the three corners of horror, plus my man, Radar Steel. How you doing, bro?
Dude, I'm holding on. It's almost Friday.
Oh, dude, yes. I know JR down there. He's ready for that. JR loves Friday. What's good, JR? How you doing, brother?
Man. And I got Friday off, which is fucking awesome.
Shit, you should have been drinking with us tonight, brother.
Nah, I can't because I still got a lot of work to do at home, personal projects. But
I got you.
Yeah, hey, look at the four horsemen of horror.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
holy
like
shit. We're the four horsemen.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Joe the
Kids on
psychologist. How's that beer, bro?
It's good. It's good. I'm still trying to take it a little easy, you know. Just
I-
try to get right back into it after the dry January. But yeah, I'm ready to talk about this one. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be a bad labor, you know, or a quick delivery.
I'm gonna have to edit this because JR always says it first and he missed it.
No, I didn't miss it. I don't have to
okay.
give go much.
Nah,
I mean, the four horsemen was good. I mean,
Okay, I'll take it. The movie which we will be discussing is Rebirth. The film is directed and written by Laura Moss. The film stars Marin Ireland as Dr. Rose Casper and Judy Reyes as Celia. A morgue technician successfully reanimates the body of a little girl, but to keep her breathing, she will need to harvest biological materials from pregnant women. When the girl's mother, a nurse, discovers her baby alive, they enter a deal that forces them both down a dark path of no return. You guys ready for this one?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
This was
Hell
a film.
yeah, brother.
This was a film that me and JR and Radar guest on Angel's Voices from the Mausoleum. Check her out. We were on her stream and Radar, you brought this to our attention. Am I right?
Yeah. Because I remember just randomly watching it on Shudder.
Yeah.
Because I thought, why not? And I was like, wow, no one's talking about this? What the heck?
Interesting. Because I was browsing through Shudder. Me and my girlfriend were looking for something to watch, and I passed by it. I'm like, Radar was like gushing over this film. Let's watch. I told her, fuck it, you know. We put it on, and I'll tell you right now, I did enjoy it. I didn't think we were gonna cover it though, so I wasn't like engrossed in it, taking notes or nothing. I'm just enjoying the film for what it was. So Radar, man, I'm gonna throw it to you first on this one. When you give it real quick, give us your initial reaction to the film, right? And then I'll throw a question to you. But your initial reaction when you first saw it in detail. I'm really curious about this.
Yeah, to me, I'm getting a sort of the dark and the wicked vibe to this one because it's a film not too uplifting. It's certainly not uplifting with its subject matter, and you know it's well made. It's got fantastic acting, and the most crucial part, no one's fucking talking about it. That's the key. So I mean, it's a great film across the board. No one's talking about it, and it's just wild. I think it's just gonna fly under the radar.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna make a pun about it.
When I saw it, I thought the same thing. I'm like, interesting. This movie, it borrows a lot of elements from other horror genres, but it does it really well. And I think what I really liked most about this film, and I'm gonna throw it out there right now, Marin Ireland kills it, man.
Again.
We just talked about her in The Dark and the Wicked.
Dark and the Wicked.
And she's a completely different character in this movie. I know GR always brings this up when actors always plays the same roles all the time. And this is a character, these two roles couldn't be any different. And I don't mean just the role, but the way she played them. She carried this movie for me. Not saying the movie was bad without her, but her presence in this film and her character and the way she went about things, her ideologies, everything about her was so fascinating. What did you think about Rose and her research, bro?
Well, I just got to recover. You just blew my mind, Rick, because I didn't even realize that was the same fucking actress.
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't even put two and two together.
Yeah.
Exactly my
wild.
point. Exactly my point, bro.
Dude. Oh my gosh, that's wild. But I think Rose is such an interesting such an interesting character because it seems like she's that typical sort of like scientist role where it's like they're so absorbed in their work they don't care about anyone else. They don't give a shit. They'll do anything they can to to keep their experiment going and have it succeed. And it seems like she doesn't have any real like emotional connection to anyone in the outside world, and she plays it off just perfectly. But as the movie goes along, it does such a great job of kind of showing another side to her too. Not a large amount, but it makes her a human. She's a well-rounded human. I think that's fantastic because what she's doing experiment-wise is pretty gruesome. So that's important, super important.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned that she's human because when you first watch this film and you watch her, you're like, wow, what a quirky, eccentric character. At first, you're like kind of thrown off by just the way she talks to people. And you mentioned like, she'd rather be on her own. I kind of disagree. She likes to be with her cadavers and all her corpses and all that stuff. Which again, it fascinates me because that's all she really cares about, and that's what gets her out of bed every day is her work. And then we find out exactly what the hell is going on. Joe, the psychologist, these experiments that Rose was conducting. Talk about Rose herself and these experiments.
Well, I mean, so I'm going to say as far as the detachment that she had as with the way she interacted with people was probably after her mother died. Because when Seeley finds the photos, if you look through, it looks happy, happy, happy. And as you start seeing Muriel, her mother, start getting sicker, towards the last picture, she's looking away in that picture.
Good shout. I didn't catch that. Good shout.
So it was basically, that was her last attachment. Being one of the people who's in the medical field, I have to say a lot of this stuff was unethical because there was a lot of violations across the board that she was doing here. When she told the random guy, I want to, what is this?
Masturbate you in the bathroom.
I want to
Yeah, the most awkward hand job in the world.
Yeah. And, you're seeing all these devices. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And then I'm like, all right, I see what's going on here. Because, you got introduced to Seeley, who has a child. And now you have Rose, who obviously didn't have a child. But, lo and behold, with her experiment, she's inseminating herself using the embryonic fluid, using basically all the material that's developed in pregnancy in order for her to do her research. So originally she's using herself to do this, but it's when you have to involve someone else. And me personally, I mean, Marin was great. I'm a huge fan of Judy Reyes. She has been around for a long time. I loved her character and her coming in and basically helping soften Rose up. But as far as Rose's research and experiment, as I said, it was a lot of, she didn't do anything as far as actually kill someone, it seems, for her research, except for her own fetuses that she aborted, in order to be able to get the material. But I mean, I understood what she was doing it for. Her mother died of Parkinson's, and unfortunately, in the medical field, research is research. And, it's why animals are used, but the thing is, you can only use animals for so long if you want to eventually test it on humans. And some scientists just say, fuck it. Let's just, use humans and let's just do it. I thought I actually in my head, I kind of labeled her a Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah. And then when you saw the video with her mom and how she had the stuff like the electrodes or whatever she did, I went Dr. Frankenstein instead of, Dr. Casper, Dr. Frankenstein.
Joe, this is pretty incredible because the writer and director of this, Laura Moss, Laura Moss, the inspiration for this film was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
I can
Holy
see.
Shit.
Makes sense.
Good shout.
Yep.
JR, now I throw it to you, my brother. Give us the 411 on Rose, your thoughts, the experiments, and whatever else you want to add there, brother.
Well, I mean, it is like Dr. Frankenstein, but the only thing with her is there was a purpose beyond just bringing back life. It's watching her mom suffering. Not only that, I mean, she was pretty heartbroken when Muriel died, the pig, and you know,
Or
because
Muriel.
there's the
I'm
animal.
sorry. Hold on, let me cut you off. When I'm watching it, I actually, this is another movie that my phone was down for almost the whole entire time. And then when Muriel died, I texted Rick and went, "Poor thing. I just got to Muriel's part." And then I put my phone back down.
Yeah,
Well,
you
the
know what I
ironic
was
part is the
thinking.
reason Muriel was used is because a lot of the pig organs are similar to human organs, and right now, you know, they're doing the research with the kidneys. They're using
Look at the
pig
big
kidneys.
brain on JR.
No, they're using pig kidneys for human transplants
They
because
use
they're the
aortas.
closest. Yeah,
No, you're
they're
right,
the
yeah.
closest thing to us. So that
Interesting.
was one of the reasons she had Muriel, which was, you know, I mean, you figure any other animal, but Muriel was the reason she was used. But you kind of understood what she was doing, even when Celia asked her, "When did you know you were going to start doing this?" "Oh, when I was 6 or 7 years old." And we went
That
to
story
a
was
Orchard
great.
Beach. I'm like, Orchard Beach, man, that's close by. And then she goes, you know, she told the story about the starfish. She cut the starfish's hand, and she was fascinated the fact that it was regenerating and it was growing back. And then she goes, yeah. And then I was at school. I tried to do the same thing. What was it, a hamster?
Yeah.
Yeah, I cut the hamster's leg off, and it just thing was just bleeding.
I'm
And
sorry,
Celia
I laughed
laughs. She
at
goes,
that.
"It's not funny."
That killed me.
But you understood what was her purpose. And the funny thing is, I purposely watched this movie with Priscilla, and my wife is a nurse, and was curious to see her reaction to
So
everything that
am
was
I.
going on.
Do tell.
So she said the same thing Joe said. She goes, "Everything is so unethical. What's being done? How, you know?" And unfortunately, I do believe you have these doctors who are willing to go every length in order to find a cure for something. I mean, we're all fans of Deep Blue Sea, and they're using the brains of sharks in order to cure
Alzheimer.
Alzheimer's. So, you know, I like the way it was done because it did feel original to me, even though it's based on Frankenstein. But the ironic twist in this, which I wonder if you guys would pick it up, is Rose, the monster Rose created, wasn't the one she brought back to life.
Right.
It was the one that was brought into, who forced herself in to help her out in order to keep this child alive. So it's good. It's a good twist of it because the
Like
monster
that.
she created was not the daughter. It was actually Celie.
So, Silly, GR, let's talk to me about her decision. What did you think about that? This go for everyone, but I'm gonna start with GR because this is I'm interested in this. Her decision. Do you think she made the right decision? Because she went down a pretty dark road, especially towards the end.
And this is funny. This is and when I was watching this with Priscilla, and Priscilla's reaction was, I don't understand how she's not crying. The fact that she deleted the phone calls that she was given about her daughter, how it was almost she was erasing this daughter from her life. Because even at a point, she said, my phone went in the toilet, and it was like I was on a little vacation. So she didn't really act like she was mourning the loss of this child till her actions later on at the end, which we'll talk about. But it's like the fact that I feel like it was more if she let herself down. It wasn't even about the kid. It was about her. That's the way I looked at it. It was more about her. And the fact that you're watching this film, any other, and Priscilla's like, you know, I would have punched this woman out for freaking, you know, doing this to my daughter, and then call the cops, and then have my daughter transferred to the hospital to figure out how the hell they're keeping her alive. So the fact that she was so willing to do this is like, I feel like she knew the daughter had limited time, and that was the only way for her to make up for the time lost was the fact that she wasn't there. She missed the calls. She didn't get to see the daughter when, you know, she passed away. The fact that she goes to a different hospital and be like, well, you know, your daughter's not here. And even her reaction, you're like, with the, you know, her reaction kind of showed you that it was more about, I guess, for her finding how to grieve, but at the same time going to whatever lengths to be there for her daughter, who you kind of get a certain glimpse that maybe she didn't pay her daughter a lot of attention because there was that bus ride where the girl goes, "Hey, mom, I got a secret. Tell you what, I'm not getting attention."
Yeah.
I mean, so there was something that there was missing between her and the daughter.
A disconnect somewhere.
Yes, a massive disconnect because like I said, how she was willing to basically almost erase her from her life, and then stumble upon, Rose's, apartment. The fact she forced herself in there, like, all right, I'm game. Let's do this. I'm like, all right, this lady's fucked up.
Joe, the psychologist, you're the closest in this field. I know, JR, your wife works. She's a nurse. Maybe if you could also jump in on this one. But the fact that when her daughter passes away, right, and they can't find the body, and then Celie follows Rose obviously to her apartment, and she finds her daughter strapped to this bed, right? But obviously, if the morgue can't find her, right, like, no one's questioning this. Like, how does a body go missing, right? And there's no wake, no funeral, nothing. Only one person brought it up, and she's like, no, my religion doesn't practice that, or whatever. But the fact that authorities or the hospital themselves, if they lost a body, they're not just go, oh, can't find it. Oh, well. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Well, I mean,
I hope not.
And then, Joe, I'm sorry. And after that, you can go into, what I asked, same thing with JR about Celie.
All right. Well, you forget that Rose was falsifying reports to have made the pregnant mom keep coming back. So, because Rose is a pathologist, she doesn't do. I mean, because I know we mentioned the morgue, but she's not a mortician.
She works with diseases and shit like
that. Yeah, she's just a pathologist. So when Rose had checked Leela, and basically it was her who said it was bacterial meningitis that had killed Leela, she was the last person to see it. So all she had to do is sign off and show that whoever's going to take it to the next step, it's out of her hands. So, I mean, again, plot hole, but at the same time, it showed that she knows how to falsify medical stuff when she does it with the other patient.
Right.
So she could have been all along, because she's been taking, material for a while. So she's probably already has been falsifying documents and was able to do that. I love the book ending of the movie, because when the movie starts, you have a woman in labor. She's asking for her baby. When they show the baby, you obviously see the baby is kind of preterm. It's a little too early. And then, you cut to Rose. You're introduced to Celie, who, has her daughter. And was that what happened? Was that her giving birth, and she had this horrible birth? Because, when you hit play, you get a bit of a description, unfortunately, on Shudder when you pull up the movie. So you knew it was going to be something involving a child. But then when you get to the fact that it was Celie's action that was the beginning of the movie that takes you here, and, seeing Rose kind of put it all together when she comes home and finds Leela in the freezer. So she's basically putting her hypothermic to be able to resuscitate her. If you guys didn't realize that's what she was doing. But the minute I saw her,
I thought she was just preserving her body to start.
No. As soon as I saw it, when you
so
saw
she didn't die. She stood
when
alive.
You saw her brain clicking, it was hypothermia. So if she puts her in there, hypothermia, they can bring her back, which is what they did.
I'm dealing with some smart motherfuckers on this pen. I love it.
Yeah, dang.
But so for me, Celie's decision, I saw her decision, but I don't think she fully meant to kill the mother.
No,
so
I never looked at it that way.
But when it ends and she's smiling at the daughter, it kind of washes away what you're like, well, maybe she didn't mean to. And all of a sudden she's like, hey, honey. So it showed her a little evil in that sense.
Radar, what you think about her decision, man? Would you agree with it? You flow with it, or what?
So I mean, she's got the two big decisions. The first one is, should I report Rose to the authorities? And obviously she goes, nah, which is wild, but it's clear that she's definitely willing to cross a few, at least social lines, because, barging into someone's place, normally a taboo, for surezies. But, finding your reanimated daughter probably would set off at least a couple alarm bells, but it's very clear she's like, hey, why not? Let's go with this. See what happens. And You know, I
Yeah.
like where JR and Joe mentioned that, you know, she didn't seem like she was doing her best as a parent, but it doesn't seem like it seems like the main character from Train to Busan a bit. He just like had this disconnect with his daughter.
Oh, good shout.
Damn.
That's a good
Boom,
shout.
boom.
That was a boom.
He ain't lying. He ain't lying.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like, I guess it's not nearly the same because I can tell that she really did care about
Yeah.
her daughter and stuff. It's just that she's a single mother, and it's just the having to go to work and provide for her kid.
She's like sleeping on the hard floor too.
Fucking hard
Yeah.
floor is more comfortable. I mean,
It was
Nah,
like a
bro. Nah,
cycle,
nah, too.
a vicious cycle, because she has to go to work
and
to
that-
you know provide for her child, but she can't give her child attention because she's got to go to work, and it's just a vicious cycle. So she can't.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it,
be
Radar.
there
Yeah.
for
It
her.
is.
Yeah.
Well, and that morning when Leela had died, the alarm went off, and you saw she's like, "Fuck this alarm." She hit it 5 more minutes, and she turned it off. I mean, I'm sure that we've all done that. Like we do the
Oh,
5
yeah.
minutes and accidentally turn it off, and
Oh.
you wake up an hour later.
You're
But-
like,
yeah,
"Ah!"
which
You're
is what
so-
she did. And as soon as her daughter says, "Mom, I don't feel good," she quickly brushed it off.
Yeah,
So that's
It's-
another part that you got to remember is that when her daughter said I wasn't feeling good, she quickly brushed it off. Then it was the fever, and she's a nurse herself. Didn't stop. Just said I
Should've
have
checked
to go
that
to
shit.
work. Here, I'm gonna take you to my neighbor. Okay, you're not gonna say bye. I'm out. I mean that was her, but that's another part. That was her goodbye to her daughter. Was the last words to her daughter was mommy no, screaming for her after the daughter didn't want to say bye to her because she wasn't feeling good. So she had like a lot of weight on her shoulder on that. Seeing her alive was like, okay, I can fix this now.
yeah, and I mean, that totally. There's definitely some reasonableness to her first decision. The second decision, I saw it coming, and I was
Yeah.
like, please don't fucking do this.
Yeah.
Do not do this, please. But just like so many, you know, moral like brick walls that she had to plow through to get to that decision. I'm sure she didn't go in there meaning to kill her, but she basically did. She did it. You know, and it's I love a good bleak ending. And granted, it's not, I guess, so bleak at the very end, but that is one hell of a gut punch.
I think it's
It-
bleak because
it's
the
bleak
daughter, she's dead, bro. Like, I
No,
don't
they
know, man.
they brought her
No,
back.
no,
but you have
I
to
get
think
that.
about
No, I
they're
get you
going
brought
to
her
have
back,
to keep doing this.
but
Yeah.
to me, she's dead to me. I
That's
mean, if
the
you gotta
thing.
keep doing that, and
They're gonna keep.
she could never live a normal life, bro.
Yeah.
I would just let her go. I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I can't speak for the bottom two guys. I don't know. Radar, you're not a parent, right?
Not yet.
All right. So I can't speak to that, but I can't fathom like if my child right passes away and then you find out they're actually alive, but they're being kept alive by some weird stem cell experiment, and you got to keep doing this to keep them alive, and you don't know if they're gonna even be the same person anymore. I can't do that. Me personally, I couldn't do it. I could.
Well, listen.
But you're right. I'm sorry. But if I had a kid, right, and I lost them, who knows? Maybe I would go so insane that I would be willing to do whatever it takes. So yeah, I could see the dilemma on that.
you
part, but
you would be willing, but you know, if let's say Zachary would have been Leela's age and killed Daisy, I would have realized we got a problem here. like,
Yeah.
I something is not like we may have to stop this experiment.
that's my
because
point. That's once Leela kills Muriel, right?
There that showed
That's it.
that she doesn't.
exactly.
The child is missing because
Some-
Technically, it was self-defense because Muriel bit her.
Did the
She
pig
did?
bite her?
Yes,
did?
when she went to touch the pig snapped back, and that's when she grabbed the thing and stabbed the pig. It was
Ah.
actually self-defense.
I didn't pick up on that. I just thought that she was just jealous that the pig was
Mm-mm.
getting more
Nah.
attention.
Pig
than
snapped
she
at her,
was.
and then that's what she.
Hey man, at
Whoa.
first I
But
thought
again,
that,
I was not happy.
At first, I thought Muriel was legit Muriel's brain inside of a pig. At first, I'm like, oh no.
Oh no,
She
that,
put her
now
mom.
that would have been some Frankenstein shit.
That would have been wild.
Well, speaking of that, and Frankenstein and monsters, Joe the psychologist, bro. Who's the real monster in this film, bro?
So it's hard because, again, what Rose is doing wasn't bad up until they needed more material that she could no longer provide
Yeah.
because she was using herself. So her experiments, she was putting her body, which probably explained why her character looked that way. Why she always looked gaunt.
Gaunt. Oh
why
my
she
God.
looks
I was just
sick.
going to say
Oh,
that word
jeez.
gaunt.
Yeah, she's gaunt, sick, she's pale. Like,
Haggard.
yes. So, she's, I
She
mean,
don't sleep, really.
she don't sleep. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm not a woman, so I'm not about at all to
Not
try
just-
to understand cycles and stuff like that. But she's making herself get pregnant in order to then she goes far along in the pregnancy for her to be able to extract it. That's got to be a lot of
Brutal.
you're putting to your body
Yes. And she-
because you're also putting some chemical in your body in order for you to do that. And it seems like she's been doing it for a while. So this is why her body looked like her own experiment was eating away at her. Now, the question as far as who's the monster is unfortunately it only just falls on Seeley's decision. Not so much of the outcome of the decision. That's why I want to be clear on this. It's Seeley's decision to try to make that mother go into labor. Because I still believe she didn't go in there with the intent of killing her. Like, I think when the police showed up, the whole seizures, she was reacting like, holy shit, this did not go the way it was supposed to go. She's just supposed to go into labor. The bitch is foaming at the mouth right now. I got to call 911 for a seizure. So, but, as JR said, Rose helped create the monster, and the monster here and the monster in the movie is actually just this decision, which is for Seeley to go in there, force this labor on that eventually ends up killing the mother. And we still really don't know the outcome of the baby because the baby was prenatal. So we don't even know what happened to the baby. Sometimes the babies, when they're born a little too young, they can't survive. So we don't know if there was two victims in her actual decision here for them to get this material to save her own daughter. So
my man said the monster is the decision. I like that.
Mhm.
Let me ask you a question though, for anyone. Like, wouldn't an autopsy reveal that she was drugged with something?
But look who did the autopsy. Rose.
Never mind.
Got him.
He said,
My man, JR, good call,
get
JR.
to the
Good
get
shout.
there now.
Yeah.
I think this movie honestly does a great job of having like an economics when they do supply and demand. If you've ever seen those graphs, it's just a big X. Supply goes up, demand goes down.
Yeah.
And I feel that is the perfect encapsulation, that sort of graph of these two characters.
Damn,
Because
good
Rose
answer.
starts out as the monster, and Celia is just there. And at some point in the movie, they interconnect, and then by the end, oops. Because
I
Rose
love how
is
you
just
said
kind of
that.
horrified by this, by what Celia has done.
But she
You know.
hasn't done that. Rose
Who
Rose
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 Yeah,
has
yeah.
only done it to herself.
Yeah.
She hasn't harmed another individual.
Yeah.
The
So
ethics
she's just
part.
like, you can see she's shell shocked by it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, it's such a great way to reverse it because you do feel like Rose is the monster. She's doing something messed up at the beginning of the movie. And by the end, the fact that they can switch it so perfectly to where you're like, ugh, Celia, and to actually feel for Rose and kind of have a bit of that same emotional impact is incredible. And to me, for Celia's decision, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer
Oh, what a
at the
film.
end where he just tosses the bloody suitcase and he drives off and you're like, he's just going to keep doing it. That's how I feel about
Yeah,
Celia.
yeah.
I'm like, she's going to
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Yeah.
She's the monster now.
JR, would you go into a bar and order a Cobb salad with like nothing, no meat, nothing, just
See, and then that's what everybody's forgetting about. To just show you how much of a monster Celie is, she made Rose, a vegetarian, eat a pork chop.
But
Sorry, you
for her
need iron.
defense, though,
No, she needed the iron. She needed the
yeah,
iron.
yeah,
The
yeah.
That was
iron.
funny is
But
made her
Mario
eat
got
the pork chop.
killed.
Made her eat a pork chop.
Wait, hold on. That wasn't Mario she fed her, right?
Nah, it was not.
No, but I found it fucked up.
There's one thing that's being overlooked, and the fact that when they brought her back to life, her muscles were tight. So every time they moved the muscles, this little girl was in pain. Every time she was being bathed, she was in pain. Every time they had those scenes, all my wife kept saying was, wow, this poor girl is suffering so much. And for a mother to be basically by the hands of her own mom, who is a nurse who should know that everything she's doing to touch this girl is hurting her.
Interesting. I like the fact that you
Yeah.
watched it with the perspective from someone in that field.
I didn't pick up on that either.
I wouldn't even know to think about that.
And then to top it off, remember that scene in the bathroom? All she cared about was who's mommy? Who's mommy? And the fact that there was a certain point in the film where Lily was looking at Rose like a mother.
Yeah.
And the fact that there was that one scene where Rose is playing with the light bulb with Lily, and here comes Celie, jumps in, hugs her. Lily starts making noise. Oh my god, what happened? Well, you scared her. So even that reaction is like all she cared about was for this little girl to finally recognize her, and the whole time she never recognized that that's her daughter in a way. Because, like Joe said before, I mean, I said the same thing. Is that what kind of mother picks up their sick child and passes it over to the neighbor when you should have still home with your child,
Stayed home.
regardless if
I
you're
would've
gonna
stayed
miss
home.
work. So there was a lot of stuff she did that was very selfish in this movie,
Yeah.
where it was more on her character, and the fact
Yeah.
that Rose gave her an opportunity and told her, "Listen, there's nothing else we could do.
Yep.
Call out of work, go spend time with your daughter." So the minute Lily flatlined, what does Celie do?
Pause
I'm
more
gonna put her
time.
in the fridge. I'm gonna
Yep.
put her in the fridge, and let me go after this other woman.
Meningitis. Can it kill you that fast?
Yes, it can.
Yes,
I
it
talked to
can.
Priscilla, and yes, it can.
can.
That's why,
It's a
yeah.
very deadly disease, and that's another thing that made me wonder: is like who exactly gave her the meningitis?
So
and how
my
did she
my little
contract it?
niece was born, and within like a couple weeks of being born, she caught it.
Yeah, it's
And
very
Huh.
thank
deadly.
God she survived, but
Yeah,
it was a
it's-
pretty serious ordeal. But
Every single person who comes in contact with that person has to take medication and
Yeah.
isolate.
Well,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
but-
yeah.
well,
But
before we
I
go-
didn't think it would do that to like an older kid though. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm learning so much about the medical field right now.
it is not fun. I gotta tell you, it scares the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
When she finally put it to the point that it involved the hysterectomy on her, that was it. For Rose, the experiment was done because she no longer was going to be able to produce any of the, the stuff they needed.
Yeah.
And Leela even touched that scar, showing you a kind of a moment of that for Rose, this was kind of done because she can't help on this anymore, leading to Celie now making this decision on we're going to have to off some other mothers along the way.
All right, let's close this one out. Radar, I'm gonna throw to you first, my boy. Rate the film and any other closing thoughts you want to add onto this one, because this was your pick. So
Yeah, I mean, I really like this one. It's not a perfect movie, I would say, but damn, is it good? I love. So there's so many now. It's based on Frankenstein, obviously, and there's so many of the Frankenstein's monster. Oh no, what have I created? And then it like kills them, or it goes on a rampage or
or
something.
kills a pig.
Yeah, or, kills a pig. But I was waiting for that moment for it to like break, like for Leia to break out and like go on a rampage or something, because I thought that was the most inevitable outcome, and it just doesn't happen because it's actually just a great character study on these two people and going like, well, who is the monster? And I think that's so refreshing. It's such a nice twist on the whole genre, because the whole, oh, my creation killed a bunch of people, or it killed me. Oh no, I didn't see this coming.
It's a
Has
great
been
question.
done.
Yeah, who is?
Yeah,
the
it's been done
monster?
400 times. So I love it more as a great character study, and they absolutely killed it. Both actresses with the performances. So I mean, if I had to give it on a scale from like 1 to 5, I would give it 4.5 reanimated corpses out of 5.
Radar, we're 1 through 10 here, bro. Come on, man. What the
Oh, we're 1 through 10. My bad.
No, I'm
my
kidding.
bad.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
I was like, what? No, we're not. We're 1 through 5.
JR, but throw to you.
It's like Radar said, it was very interesting film because it is a dynamic of the mad scientist versus the nurse who has supposed to be the moral authority, and the fact that she was more of authority than anything. Because remember, she moved in. She goes, every time she come in, I'm home. It was
That's a Puerto Rican for you.
it was her house and shit, you know. And then that one time where Rose said, "Oh, this glass is dirty. I ain't your fucking maid," and started yelling at her and said, "Just fucking drink it." I was like, all right, But for me, yeah, this is an interesting horror movie because we're accustomed to like gore, a lot of blood, and a lot of the blood in this movie was it was things that were happening. For example, when they walked in and she seen like a spot of blood on the floor, which she assumed that Lily smacked her head on the ground, when she got sick. And then you have the dynamic of this woman who she's so accustomed to seeing life being born that she's willing to take it towards the end of the movie in order to keep something that is dead alive. So I'm going to give this one 4.5 little piggies.
Joe the psychologist, my boy. Let's go, son. You're muted, my boy. I knew you were going to keep it on mute.
Classic show.
All right, Joe the psychologist. Score it and give us your final thoughts, my brother.
Honest, because it was up to me to come up for the movie for this week, and I asked you guys some movies to watch so I can pick it, and Radar, they mentioned that you had brought it. I'm like, you know what? If Radar said it, I'm going to watch it. And I was sitting there and I'm like, this is a little bit different. And then I just kind of realized I was so engrossed in it.
Yeah.
Performances, again, Marin is a fucking chameleon.
Top 2.
I mean, I can't wait to see her in more horror movies.
Same.
So this is a 4.5 for me too. I mean, it was a huge surprise. I halfway through, I'm like, this is getting really good.
I love it when underrated films get some recognition. Damn it.
Yeah.
This movie here's a 4.5 for me too.
Hell yeah.
That rating, I'll be honest. This is probably like a 3.75, 3.5, give or take, because, it's not the most original thing, but her performance was so fucking good, bro, that it drives it all. Especially talking to you three fine gentlemen, it really elevated the score to me because I saw things I didn't pick up before, and it makes the movie even better. One last question, GR, if she would come up to you in the bar and ask you to go into the bathroom to do the work, would you do it?
I'd be like, what toys you got? Because I know you got a lot of toys in that bag.
I would be like, hell yeah, let's go. And then while I'm walking to the bathroom, I'm like, yo, is this a setup? What's going on? This camera's in there.
Don't look down. Stay looking up.
Well, that's gonna be doing for the Three Corners of Horror here, Horror Fiend TV. I'm Ricky Grimes. We got my boy Radar. Radar, what's going on in your life, man? What you got coming up project-wise? Can you tease us with a little anything?
Yeah, I've got a self-published book that's going to be released on April 9th called A Year in Horror, 365 Mini Scary Stories, all based off of one word. So basically think of 2-sentence horror, but like a whole book of it.
You're gonna love it.
A Year Spent in Horror by Radar DeBoard. We've been privileged enough to get a little glimpse into it, and y'all gonna love it. Like he said, it's just short stories. You could pick it up whenever you got free time. Boom, boom, boom. Man, my man Radar gets pretty fucking dark. I gotta admit, Radar, I didn't think you were that dark, but you a sick motherfucker. That's why I love you so much, bro.
I love it, man. I love the darkness. What can I say?
All right, hey JR, my boy, what you got going?
Contractions right now.
You're a man, so you probably gotta take a shit.
If you haven't, check it out. JR did appear on the Scared Stiff podcast. He was a guest there. I'll have the link to that interview in the description below. Check it out. JR opens up with all types of stuff. His filmmaking background, his love of horror, his personal projects, and a lot of things you could. There's 13 questions here, so you're gonna learn a lot about my boy now. So.
Definitely, it's about an hour long, so definitely it's worth a listen. And yeah, a lot of insight and a lot of a little bit backstory about Horror Fiend TV.
Yeah. Oh, when you brought up the OG Horror Fiend TV, oh boy, I can't. horrible.
Yes, I had to bring it up.
But we leave those episodes here to see our progress. I don't care if someone watches, oh, this is trash. Yeah, no shit, but look, it's a work in progress, guys.
Oh, give us growth.
Give us growth. Control the
Rome wasn't built in
psychologist.
a day.
What's going on with you, bro?
Nothing. I'll be watching another one for the movies that fucked me up.
Listen, Radar mentioned Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. How is that not on your list so far?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah,
Just
put it
wait.
on there, bro.
Yeah,
That one scene, Radar knows.
Just wait.
I want to watch it again.
Oh man.
Oh, bro. All right. Well, with that being said, Ricky Grimes, stay healthy, stay fun, stay sane, and stay optimistic. Love horror, and most of all, stay scared.
And the 4 horsemen of horror are coming back.
The husband of Jared Neva, a metal stage we ride. We come to take your life. Yeah.